Hello, it's Annette here, and welcome to Tales of Repetition Compulsion. Have you ever wondered why we seem to repeat the same painful patterns in our lives, even when we desperately want things to be different? Why we keep ending up in the same painful, hurtful situations without understanding how we got there? This was something I didn't understand in my own life until in my 40s. A clued-in therapist named Pat O'Connor, he made me aware that I was repeating toxic patterns I had learned in my difficult childhood. Tales of Repetition Compulsion is a series where I show how a difficult or toxic childhood can subconsciously follow us into our adult lives through these toxic patterns. I explain this using real-life examples or tales to make the psychological concept easier to understand. For new viewers, I will briefly explain two important concepts that I talk a lot about on this channel, and they are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. For my subscribers, if you're already familiar with these two concepts from my other videos, just feel free to skip ahead to where I tell today's tale. So let me ask you 3 questions. Did you have a difficult childhood? In your adult life, do you find yourself repeatedly getting into toxic or even abusive situations? And are you tired of living this way? If you answered yes to these questions, then this channel may help you. Now, there was a time when I would have answered yes to those questions myself. You see, my personal life had become a series of painful and hurtful situations, and I didn't understand why this kept happening. I know I just felt terrible shame that my life was such a catalogue of disasters. Then, I was very fortunate to meet a therapist called Pat O'Connor when I was in my 40s. He gently helped me see something I had never recognized before, that I was subconsciously repeating toxic patterns that I had learned in my difficult childhood. Now, I had no idea I was doing this because these patterns operate at a subconscious level. So, if you think about it like this, how could I stop doing something that was harming me if I didn't even know I was doing it? Someone had to make me aware that I was doing this. And that is why I now say that the first step to healing from repeating toxic childhood patterns is awareness. When we become aware of the toxic patterns we are repeating, we finally have the opportunity to stop doing this. So, why do toxic childhood patterns follow us into our adult lives? Why does this happen? There are 2 main reasons. The first reason is that during a difficult childhood, we learn core beliefs about ourselves. These core beliefs become damaged. I call these damaged core beliefs the 6 bad messages, because they're not the truth about who we are. We learn them subconsciously in a toxic childhood, and sadly, they then subconsciously shape how we see ourselves and how we behave throughout our adult lives. I have a playlist on the 6 bad messages with lots of real-life examples to help explain this concept to you. Now, the second reason a difficult childhood follows us into adulthood is through a psychological process called repetition compulsion. I also have a series of playlists where I show how repetition compulsion invades every area of our lives. So, what is repetition compulsion? I like to explain it as follows. Children learn what they live. What a child experiences becomes their normal. It becomes what feels familiar to them. And as adults, we are subconsciously programmed, are compelled or wired to recreate what feels normal or familiar to us, even when those situations are painful or harmful. So, if a child grows up in a toxic or abusive environment, they may later find themselves repeatedly drawn into similar situations in their adult lives. Now, this is not because they want suffering, and it is not their fault. It happens because the subconscious mind is trying to recreate what it recognizes as normal or familiar. This powerful pull towards familiar patterns is what we call repetition compulsion, the tendency to repeat in our adult lives what we first learned as children, even if it harms us. Later in this video, my 3 dogs, who I call the 3 wise tales, they'll show you the 3 steps that helped me break these patterns and begin healing from repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages. So, in today's tale of repetition compulsion number 24, the life category is relationships. The bad message is, you must be perfect or nobody will love you. And the character is Jamie. So let's see how Jamie learns this bad message in his childhood and how it then subconsciously controls how he feels about himself in his adult relationships. We meet Jamie when he is 9 years old. One day he comes home from school all excited that he got 8 out of 10 in a maths exam. Jamie finds maths very difficult, and this is the best result he's gotten so far in any of his maths tests. He is delighted with himself. He can't wait to tell his parents. At dinner, Jamie says, "Guess what? I got 8 out of 10 in my maths test today." Jamie waits for some praise and encouragement, but this is what he hears. "What happened to you? Your cousin always gets 10 out of 10 in their maths tests. I wish you would do better." Jamie is crushed. Over time, this pattern follows. No matter how well Jamie thinks he is doing at school and at sports, he always seems to fall short of what his parents expect of him, and he senses their disappointment in him deeply, even though he is only a child. This pattern results in Jamie subconsciously learning the 6th bad message. You must be perfect or nobody will love you. Now, let's fast forward to Jamie as an adult. He is 38 now and he has a partner, and his partner is a bit of a perfectionist. Jamie decides to surprise his partner for their birthday, and he makes his partner's favourite dinner. It took Jamie hours to do this, between shopping for all the fresh ingredients to cooking the meal itself. Jamie does his very best to make the meal exactly how he knows his partner likes it. Very little salt and not too spicy. When Jamie's partner arrives home from work, Jamie leads them to the dining room where the table is beautifully decorated with candles, a linen tablecloth and matching linen serviettes. Jamie really has gone all out to make this meal a special one. His partner sits down and Jamie serves up the meal. With the first mouthful, his partner declares, "Oh, for God's sake, this is too salty. You know I hate too much salt." Jamie is crushed. Again. There is no recognition of how much effort Jamie put into making this special dinner. Just a criticism on how it tastes. Jamie feels that old familiar feeling that he needs to do better in order to please his partner, because if Jamie is not perfect, his partner won't love him. So, nothing has changed for Jamie, has it? Just like it was when he was a little boy, he is still being controlled by the 6th bad message, which is, you must be perfect or nobody will love you. And he finds himself in situations that reinforce this belief. It's no coincidence that Jamie is with a partner who strives for perfection and expects this perfection of Jamie too. And this is repetition compulsion in action, where the past is replayed in the present, not because Jamie chooses it, but because the subconscious bad message, I must be perfect or nobody will love me, is still controlling what he thinks about himself and how he behaves in a relationship. This is what Jamie learned as a child. It became his normal. And until this is brought into Jamie's awareness, he will keep repeating what feels familiar to him even when it hurts. And now I'm going to hand you over to the three wise tales. These three beauties were a constant support to me when I was trying to break free from the control of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. And they are still a constant support in my life. I am so lucky to have them in my life. They are going to show you the 3 ways to break free from being controlled by the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Hello, Petal. Hello, Blossie. Hello, Dottie. I'm delighted you're here. Now get to work.
Hello, my name is Petal, and I am the first of the 3 wise tales. Today we're going to show you the 3 ways to break free from the control of 2 toxic hidden forces. They are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Please see the videos suggested at the end for a more detailed explanation of these 2 forces. The 2 forces of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion go hand in hand. They feed into each other. When these 2 forces run our lives, subconsciously, we are not in control. Our subconscious minds are in control. Therefore, we are not the top dog. We are just a cog, trapped inside the toxic machinery of these 2 forces. So that's why the first way to heal is awareness. Now that you are here, look at it like this, listening to this, you are already becoming aware, and this is wonderful. Awareness means you start to look at your adult patterns, realizing now for the first time that you are forced to repeat your toxic and abusive childhood situations, and again knowing for the first time that it is not your fault that you do this, so you are not to blame yourself. Awareness means you start to control what you think about yourself. You get to decide what messages you tell yourself. Do you want to feed yourself bad messages, or do you want to feed yourself good messages? The moment you become aware that you are being controlled by these 2 toxic forces, they no longer control you. You control them as you have moved them from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind. And remember, we can control what is in our conscious mind. Awareness moves you out of being a helpless cog and starts to put you in the position of top dog. Awareness opens the door to making fantastic, conscious changes in your life, and these changes will at last stop you landing yourself in toxic and abusive situations. And now I'll hand you over to Blossie. He's going to explain to you the second way to break free from the control of these 2 toxic, sinister, hidden forces.
Hello, my name is Blossie, and I am the second of the 3 wise tales. I am very old, so these days I have a long white beard. But being very old doesn't just mean I have a hairy face. It also means I am very wise, and I am so happy to share this wisdom with you. Now let me tell you why the second way to heal is so important. Most people who grew up in toxic or abusive homes were never taught to trust their feelings or instincts. In fact, they were often taught the opposite. If they ever dared to speak up and give their opinion on something, or if they ever expressed how they felt about something, They were often told, "Oh, you're too sensitive," or "You're just imagining things," or "Oh, don't be so dramatic," or "Will you keep your opinions to yourself and don't make trouble?" Over time, they learned to disconnect from their feelings and their instincts, and in doing this, they disconnected from their inner warning system. And that inner warning system, your feelings and your instincts, it is your natural defense system. When you don't trust your instincts, you can't protect yourself. And when you can't protect yourself, you would be easily exploited by toxic and abusive people. That's how repetition compulsion keeps you as a cog. You keep walking back into toxic relationships. You keep tolerating mistreatment. You keep overriding the feeling that says, "This doesn't feel right. I should be away from this." But when you start to listen to your feelings and trust your instincts, everything changes. Your instincts sense danger before your thoughts even catch up. Trusting your feelings and your instincts means you start choosing safety. You start choosing yourself. You start saying no to toxic and abusive situations. And every time you listen to that inner voice, you step out of the machinery. You stop being a cog and you become the top dog. You become the boss of your life. Because top dogs protect themselves. Top dogs listen to their inner voices. Top dogs don't abandon themselves just to keep the peace. Top dogs protect themselves from toxic and abusive situations. So today, no more being a cog. Today, you start being the top dog. And now, let me hand you over to Dottie. She's going to tell you the third way to break free from the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages.
Hello, my name is Dottie, and I am the third of the 3 wise tales. I am the queen of the pack. I'm the entertainer. I keep everyone happy. So I am definitely the top dog in this house. Now listen closely, because this final step is powerful. The 6 bad messages didn't come from nowhere. They came from having to survive a tough childhood. And here's the truth. The 6 bad messages are not facts. They are lies you learned. So, the third way to heal is to nip and flip the bad messages. You catch a bad message, you nip it in the bud, you don't give it airtime, you don't entertain it. Then you flip it to the truth about yourself. You flip the bad message about yourself to a good message about yourself. So, you are not enough becomes I am enough exactly as I am. You are responsible for others, adults, becomes I am only responsible for myself. You are alone becomes no, I'm not alone. I matter and I belong and lots of people love me. Now, you might say, Dottie, that's so obvious. But it isn't obvious, as we are feeding ourselves these bad messages from our subconscious minds. Therefore, we don't even know we are doing this. But when we nip and flip, we bring the bad message into our awareness, into our conscious mind. And by doing this, we are in control. And we can now retrain our minds to believe the truth, to believe the good messages. So, every time you nip and flip, you take your power back, because top dogs choose their thoughts. Top dogs choose to feed themselves good messages about themselves. Top dogs choose to ignore the lying, nasty, bad messages. Top dogs are no longer cogs. So today, me, Petal, Blossie and Annette, we want to tell you this. You are not alone. You really do matter. And we are all here together learning to have better lives. We really care about you. And one last thing, the three wise tales, we have a very important, good message to tell you. We want to tell you that we really, really, woof you.